Good morning. It's Friday as usual, and I've got a couple of things on my mind. As you know, I'm never without an opinion. However, I've also got the solution. In Georgia today, they're boycotting basically all the corporations that are headquartered there. To their credit, the corporations have stated that they are not for voter suppression. Well, as PR, that's pretty good, but that's not the end of the story. The end of the story would be not only do you issue great PR, but you make a pledge to withdraw funding for any legislator who supports voter suppression and has voted for these heinous laws. That's going the extra step. That's more than saying, gee, I like democracy. That's good, but it's not good enough. What would I do if I was in your position in a state with voter suppression? I would start a petition. I would start a petition for recalling those legislators who have signed off on these heinous bills. It happened in Iowa. They didn't do a petition yet, but they're not happy with voter suppression. It's happening now in Georgia. They're not happy with voter suppression, but really, if H.R. 1 and H.R. 4 are not the laws of the land, and they're not the laws of the land soon, Trump's GOP will be empowered to create these heinous laws. The Brennan Law Center in New York has noted that 43 states have prepared 253 laws for voter suppression. We can't let that happen. We can't empower Trump's GOP. So funding has to be removed from these people. And also, I think petitions by the people to recall these legislators are called for. You could do it under the fact that they have written the voter suppressive laws, and you can also add insurrection to your cause. The Constitution, Article 14, Section 3, says anyone who has taken a position against the country and has committed an act against the Constitution may be removed from office. Usually that takes place by other government appointees. If they're not willing to do it, then we, the people, should step up and recall the AGs who were complicit in the insurrection, and we should now recall the governors who would sign off on these heinous bills. Congress is not prepared to act on H.R. 1 or H.R. 4 before July. That, I think, is too late. Why empower 43 states to pass laws that would hurt us in 2022? No matter how you look at it, you're going to be stuck with a one-party system. Either we have a one-party system today, and it's the Democrats because the others are Trump's GOP, and according to John Boehner, they're the crazy town GOP. He thinks the real GOP's been napping. He thinks it's strongly enough that he's going to run for office once again in Ohio against a Trump GOPer. So all I can say is, good luck, John. And I'm going to read your book to see what you think the napping GOP has felt all along. Let's kind of wake them up from a slumber, please, because we need real ideas and hard work to get legislation done that is beneficial to we the people. It's a must and it's doable, but it's not doable when you don't really have someone to work with you across the aisle. And that seems to be the case. Certainly, if it's going to be a one-party system, I'd rather see it in the Democrats' hands than in Trump's. That's what we voted for. If it's true that the real GOP is napping, well, let's see you guys go up against what's happening in all your states and see new faces in Congress. God bless. Which brings me to the infrastructure bill. I think it's a great bill. I think it will pass, and I do think it will pass. I don't know if it'll pass as written, but it'll happen, if not with the bipartisanship that's being offered. Certainly it'll pass under reconciliation. And that will probably be it under reconciliation for a while. As it happens, we're going to need more fundamental change. Don't get me wrong, the infrastructure bill is great. It will give us care for the elderly. It will give us electric cars. It will give us money to purchase electric cars. It will give us transportation of all sorts. It's a good thing. And I'm looking forward to it because I believe it will create many jobs. I'm also looking forward to raising the corporate tax rate to 28%. It's not egregious. It's still down from the 39% that was. And even at the 39%, I think the average corporate taxes paid in the country were maybe 15%. So going to something that's realistic at 28%, that's not so bad. When corporate taxes and taxes on the wealthy during the boom years of this country were at 91%, nobody suffered. We had stratification of the classes. We had a booming middle class. We didn't have to worry about food insufficiency all over and huge personal debt. It was a better way of life. So 28% and closing some loopholes for offshoring businesses, I think that's a good thing. And if we want a couple of quick billion, hey, change the law on hedge funds and make them income instead of deferred carried interest. That would give us more money in a hurry as well. Remember, for every $1 billion that we take in, that is potentially 22,000 jobs at 50,000 apiece. There's a lot of money that we can reap and we can spend on people. We still don't have 3.5 million to 10 million folks back in the workforce. And even if we do 500,000 folks a month, and that's what's slated to happen after this month, it's still not going to have 10 million people back in the workforce, no matter what the unemployment numbers say or the GDP says. We need fundamental change. For fundamental change, we need to get rid of the filibuster. Fire the parliamentarian, change the rules, and we don't have to worry about it again. If you preserve democracy, then people will vote yes for whoever gives them the most bang for their buck. Why think about having a dystopian present? Looking at a dystopian future is bad enough. Which brings me to 2 films that I'd like to recommend. One of them is Snowpiercer, and it's pretty timely because right now, Bill Gates, I think a couple of scientists, and many in the Defense Department would like to look at seeding our clouds and seeding our atmosphere with various salts. That's maybe what happened in this film, The Snowpiercer. You see what happens to the environment when they block out the rays of the sun. I think it would be cheaper to cut down on methane gases and carbon emissions first and give us back the clean water and clean air that we need. When we speak about clean water, I'm brought to what's happened to some of our resources. We have those forever chemicals in our water, the PFAS chemicals. It's a shame because not only are they causing cancer, causing asthma, they're also decreasing fertility. The pandemic is bad enough on fertility, but this is worse. And if you want to see a dystopian consequence of decreased fertility, watch The Children of Men and see what happens when there are no children born for 18 years. I'm hoping for a better future where I know that justice is done, and justice is done for we the people. As I speak, the George Floyd trial is in process. It's a shame that he had to die for a minor, probably unknown crime, when what he really needed was help. I'm hoping that justice will be done. Really am. And that the police officer, this guy who put his knee on George Floyd's neck for 9 minutes, I hope he won't get away with murder. We'll see. This comes out next Tuesday. I don't know how long the trial will be, but I'd like to see justice done. So, have a wonderful weekend, everyone. A wonderful week. And thank you for listening. And thank you for being in my home. Behind me, I don't know if you can see them, are my star jars of the Wizard of Oz. So, I don't live in a magical world, but I prefer to live with hope in my heart and action in my soul. You can too. Every day we should practice doing something that we're afraid of, and being out in the open and sticking up for democracy is something we all can do. Take care, everyone, and have a blessed day. Thank you again.